Hello friends, I am Neeraj. Welcome to the new episode of Fullstack Web Development using ReactJs and Go Fiber framework. So this is our application and we have completed most of the stuff on our homepage. And but in the console log, so I can see there is a warning. So let us fix this. This is a bug actually. So we will fix this bug as well. And I want this application in such a way that whenever a user clicks on this blog post title, so we will open this blog detail with the full post content and other stuffs. So while I was checking, so one API is missing. So we will need to quickly create one API as well to return the blog detail for the given blog ID. And we will also need to set up the routing information because we will need to have the set up the routing information so that we can navigate from one page to another. And also I am thinking to refactor this code a little bit so that we will have our header appear on all the pages. Okay. So we will do that stuffs, and so let us first quickly fix this bug. So this is a very small bug actually. So all we have to do is, so we have already landed in our VS Code. So we will just simply need to provide one attribute key, and we will provide this as a index. So now if we refresh it, so that warning went away. So this one thing we fixed. And secondly, we will also set up our routing information. So for the routing, so we will need to install React Router DOM. So we will use version 6.4. That is the latest one. So we will need to come here and we will need to install this one. Where is this? Yes, npm install React Router DOM. So we will land in the terminal and I'll open a new terminal as well. So cd client, and we will simply paste it, hit enter. So by the time so it is getting installed, so I'll quickly come back to our server, and this is our, where is our server? Okay, so this is our server, and in the server side, so actually we will need to create very quickly. So we had created a get route to list all the blogs, but we will also need to have routes something similar, like, so that read blog, so it would also be a get route, but it will accept a parameter, I mean the blog ID. So we will very quickly create it, and the parameter would be ID, and would be, we will, let's say blog, or call it blog detail. So we will create this method as well inside our controller. So very quickly, so we will simply func, and it would also asterisk fiber dot ctx. It may return an error. So just for the sake of just to save the time, so what I am going to do is, so first of all I'll very simply copy this text, and I'll update it accordingly, so no worries. So we will get the ID, and we will read it, and we don't need to delete this stuff. And message, we will say, simply say blog detail, and So here what I am going to do is, so first of all, so we are collecting this ID and we have created a variable record, and we fetched this the first record for this given ID, and we are checking if the record is the ID is if it's 0, so that means that record doesn't exist, and we are returning a message record not found. And by default the error would be the HTTP code would be 400 bad request, or we can also set it here because it's not let us return a 404, so it would be something meaningful. And if it's okay, so then we will return a key also context, and we will say record, that would be record. Fine. So very quickly, so this API also, we can also test it as well. So we'll open Thunder client, and this for the get requests. So we are getting everything right. And if we provide, let's say, ID as 9, so we are getting only this block record. Fine. So this is what we had to do, and this is fine. So our API is also ready. So we will add a comment here, that is, this is a blog detail page. Fine. So we don't need to all this environment also we don't need. And now we will set up our router. So in order to set up our router so that we can navigate from one screen to other, so there are a couple of ways, but I am going to do with the browse router. So we will import something from React router DOM, and what we need to import is, that is, browser router, and we will wrap our app component inside the browser router. Fine. And now we will come in our app.js file, and in our app.js, so basically, so here we can what we can do is that we can move all this stuff in a separate component, and we can have this app.js as simply as a you can say the container of all of our pages or our screens. So in order to do that, so we will also first let us create a directory here, and I'm going with the pages, and we will create a, let's say, home.js and rfce. So in this component, actually, I am going to move all this code from the container up to from this container. So I am going to move this to here, and we will also move this piece of code so that our application would be much more cleaner and much more modular. Obviously, so we need to import something, whatever is missing. So first of all, let us try to auto import. So this was auto imported, and in the app.js, so here I am going to do is, so we will also need to import first let us import that stuff, and also I think like we should also simply or better we need app dot. We will move this to from here to here, and we will don't need, we will import axios such letters finds, and in our app.js file, so we will import, we need to import again from the React router DOM, and we will need to import routes. First of all, we need to routes, and second we need to import route. And very simply, so here we are going to create some routes, and we will create one route, and that route will have a our component would be first attribute. So we will have a path, and we will say, so we want our path to be, I mean, at the root, very root level. So we want the element that would be our home component. So we will have a self-closing tag, and this way also. So our application should work fine. So we will test it. So yes, no problem. So we are getting all this stuff, and very quickly. So I am going to create a dummy. You can say it as a dummy page. So dummy. So we will create as a, let's say, blog.js. So this file rfc. So this would be this component basically. So we are going to to display the, to render the detailed blog page. So we will say blog detail page, and it's, and we will also need to create that route as well. So let's say we are going to say blog, and whatever ID, so that would be supplied. So, and it would be a blog page. So now if we, blog is not defined, so why so? Looks like it didn't got auto imported. So now if we manually type in the browser something like, let's say 7, so we are I mean, this page is loading. So we are coming to that page, and very quickly, so we will, since this page is working, so we will very quickly add the navigation part. So actually, so what I am going to do is, so I am going to make this stuff, this title as a hyperlink, so that whenever user clicks on this title, so he will land on the detail page. So we will come back to our home.js file, and here we will, in this div, so we will make this as a hyperlink. So we will use the link component, and link to equals. So don't worry, so we will have it, and so we will make this link, this title as a hyperlink, and we want this to link to blog, and or maybe we can use backtick. So that we can use the variables. Release record.id. Okay, so this is a hyperlink, and record.id, why it is not coming? Okay, the routing is wrong actually. So one moment, please. So let me fix. Okay, so okay, my bad actually. So if we are going to use, if we need to use the backtick, so we should not use this way. So this time now I think like it should work. So let us test that. So we will come to our this stuff. We will refresh it. So this time, yes, we are getting it right. So we are getting this data. So I mean, we are coming to this page. So and so we are navigating it correctly. So and so now we have to work on this page. So that would be also very easy. So let us also work on that stuff. So we will very simply, so or we can copy this just to save the time. So we can copy this stuff from here. So I'll explain also. So what I am doing. So first of all, so we will also create a state variable. So we will say API data and set API data, and that would be a use state. So by default, so I am making it to false, and our API route would be this time our API route would be not simple API URL rather. So we will need to pass the ID as well. So ID, so we will receive, so in order to get this ID, so we will use the use params hook, was use params, and now we can very simply say params.id. So this way, so our this would be our API URL. So we are making a GET request, and we are checking that if it's okay, so then we will extract the record, and we will set the API data, and we can also check if we are getting it correctly or not. So we will say API data, and okay, so these two things, no problem. So most of the times it gets auto imported, and sometimes it doesn't get. So this time it should work. So are we getting the data? So no, looks like we are not getting the data. So let us also check in the 304. Okay. Params.id, we are not getting it right. So let us also extract. Let us also try to debug what we are getting in the params. And in params, we are getting this ID. So our API. Okay, so we can also use backtick as well, so that we can use our API route, and actually we need to have this separator. So yes, this time, so we are getting this this data. So actually that was our this route was this whole URL was wrong. So that's it. That is why so we are not getting this. I mean our API was not getting it correctly. So this time we are getting the data and very quickly. So we are simply going to render it inside the this page content. Fine. So we will come back here and we can again start a container, and inside this container, so we will start a row, and inside one row, so we will start a poll, and access is equal to, let's say I am going with 12, and here we will say API data dot title, and we will just duplicate it out, and here we will say title, and this would be our post. The code didn't get got auto imported. No problem. So we can, okay, fine. Now it's auto imported. So we are getting it. So we are, I mean, we can also, we can have some beautify it. We can also beautify it as well. So we will have a h1 tag, and like this, and here also we can start a p tag, and like this. So this way our we are also getting our we can list the blog. So and whenever and whatever blog title, so we click, so we can also read that blog post as well. And we can I mean we can just apply some CSS and our I mean our UI, so we can work on our UI part as obviously. So we'll need to apply some CSS and other stuffs, so that we can do. So I will do it in some other time. So whenever or in some other session, or I'll create some CSS for you so that we can save the time. Okay, so that's all for this session. And if you have anything to say, so please do let me know in the comment section, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So till then, take care and happy coding.